We are now attempting to have a recovery across the board in crypto, and this is a very good sign of what's to come. If we can manage to break over some of the previous highs, then we will start to have a much larger breakout across the board for a lot of these projects, like, of course, Hedera. Now, in this video, I don't want to just talk about price action. The main thing that we are going to be focused on here is Hedera and the new financial system. We obviously know that stablecoins are becoming a big piece of this new financial system. If you have been watching some of my videos lately, you already know that stablecoins are becoming one of the biggest narratives around crypto, because what stablecoins are doing is accelerating the push into crypto. Big banks are now looking into launching stablecoins. States are launching stablecoins. And this is only going to continue to accelerate more and more and more. And the reason behind it is because we are constantly seeing stablecoins grow more and more as well. We just hit over $300 billion in terms of stablecoin value. This is coming from CoinMarketCap. And then also, stablecoins just became 1% of the global M2 supply this year. So they are now on center stage. Now, as we do focus on that, obviously Hedera is a big player behind stablecoins, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But I do want to start off with CBOS, because, CBOS just kicked off officially, and this is a very exciting event. I do think that we're going to see a lot of content coming out from this event in tomorrow's video, because I will probably be making a video on CBOS this week, because I'm hoping to see, a few key updates. We've been seeing some from Hedera, but, I really want to go over everything that happened at this event, because this is one of, it's not crypto's biggest event. It's more so TradFi's biggest financial event of the year. But, crypto is now involved in it, because guess what? Crypto is also now becoming a big part of the TradFi system, and just TradFi in general. So obviously definitely stay tuned for some of those updates. But if you guys do want to get some of these updates, definitely go check out Hedera over on X, because they have been posting a lot about this event. I do think that this is an event that almost every crypto holder should be focused on, because this does include the biggest names around TradFi and even around crypto as well. So with that in mind, let's dive on into some stablecoin discussions. Right off the rip, USDC issued on Hedera. We have been tracking this for quite some time. In the past week, it's up about 44%. This is equivalent to 35 million USDC. It is down 12.34% in the past month. This is equivalent to 16.2 million USDC. But what's interesting about this is if we go over here to DeFi Llama, because, I've been tracking this and I've been following this for a little bit of time. And, if we're looking at this logically, we have stablecoins in magenta here, okay? And we could see that stablecoins have been growing throughout this entire year on Hedera. Now, it was slow up until about roughly April and May, where we did hit a high of roughly $214 million. Then we sold off, right? And then it increased again to 224 million. We are currently sitting at about 115.27 million. But the big thing about this is that stablecoins are going to fluctuate quite a bit on these networks. But one thing that's extremely important to focus on whenever it comes to stablecoins is they need to have some sort of use case to them. Like, a stablecoin is not just going to sit on a network doing nothing. No, DeFi is a huge enabler of this. Now, talking about DeFi TVL, just getting rid of the stablecoins market cap real quick, just so that you guys can see this clearly. TVL on Hedera has been, just kind of hanging around like the 100 to like $150 million mark. I would love for us to get back to some of these highs. This is like around 214 million or so. I would love to get back to those levels. And in fact, I would love to see us even push over those levels in a big way. I do think that DeFi on Hedera is going to have a big moment. And I think that it starts this year because of all of the upgrades happening around the protocols. And talking about the protocols, I mean, listen, we've been adding more and more names here to the list, which we love to see. The main thing that I'm focused on here is just seeing DeFi participants around the Hedera ecosystem increase rapidly, because currently speaking, the main thing that we are focused on is, yeah, we have a ton of protocols, but where is the, participation? Like, where's all of the users that want to tap into, DeFi in a big way? Obviously, SushiSwap has been doing very well, but I do think that once people realize the power of Hedera DeFi, they're kind of here for good, right? I mean, once you experience how efficient Hedera is around DeFi transactions compared to even Ethereum, right? It's kind of night and day, and you're just like, why did I ever use Ethereum when I could have just used Hedera? So, I do think that with all of the EVM stuff happening around Hedera and around some of these networks, on top of all of the upgrades around some of these protocols, I do think that DeFi on Hedera is going to grow significantly. So I've been keeping a close eye on this. Now, talking about stablecoins on Hedera, we do know that there is 3 stablecoins currently, which is USDC, the AUDD, which is the AUDC, Australian Digital Dollar, and then also Straits X Singapore Dollar. So currently 3 stablecoins that we know of. There's currently a big push on 2 additional stablecoins that are not on this list. I do think that there is a little bit of with RWA.xyz, there's not like a real live tracking API tied to Hedera, I don't think. I don't know how they track this stuff. I'm pretty sure it is through an API. But, we haven't had a lot of things added that are on Hedera that we know of yet. So I wouldn't take this list as a 100% certainty of what's on Hedera. These 3 are definitely on Hedera, but there's a lot more that are not being tracked when it comes to Hedera. But talking about that, like stablecoins themselves, the reason why we focus on stablecoins is because stablecoins are outpacing almost everything. Traditional credit card systems. I mean, even the biggest players like Visa and MasterCard are now getting, blown out of the water by just, stablecoin issuers. But looking at this, it's because of the transaction cost. It's because of the faster settlement and also even the programmable rewards. I mean, everybody is starting to see the big picture here. Big banks are getting killed. Credit cards are getting killed. And it's not the fact that they're just going to get completely replaced or they're just going to say, all right, well, that's it, we give up. No, they're also starting to look into stablecoins. And that's why big banks are now also wanting to launch stablecoins. And it's also the fact that we are starting to see major shifts around the stablecoin market. This is from September 23rd. Total stablecoin supply has surged to an all-time high of 283.2 billion, while the number of monthly senders has climbed to 25.2 million, another peak. With more users and capital flowing into stablecoins than ever before, the question of whether they will be a key catalyst for the next wave of financial innovation was answered long ago. And yeah, stablecoins are an enabler of mass adoption of crypto. I truly do believe that. Users around stablecoins are just growing. Stablecoin value is just growing as well. And the underlying networks that these stablecoins are issued out on or being utilized on, they're going to be the main players to focus on. Now, I understand that Hedera is a little bit late to the party by just looking at the value on Hedera with stablecoins. But I want you guys to understand that Hedera has been preparing for this moment for a very, very long time. For an example, over here, we have the first major update from Hedera regarding stablecoins, especially in cross-border payments. Now, you might say, all right, well, when was this announced? Because again, Hedera has been late to the party, right? No, this is 3 years old. That's right. This got announced back in December of 2021. It's coming up on 4 years that Hedera has been locked in on stablecoins. And here we have a video clip of Lehman Baird talking about this cross-border payment initiative with Shinhan Bank as well as Standard Bank. Because again, this is between 2 major banks. We have them here, Standard Bank and Shinhan Bank. And we got to listen closely to this because, again, what we are hearing from Lehman Baird is exactly what's happening right now around stablecoins, where we have these big players wanting to tap into this market, and they realize the power of this technology, and they know that if they don't start utilizing it, they're going to fall behind greatly. Now, this is from Tony Edward, Thinking Crypto 1. It got posted by All in Crypto. Check it out, guys.
Borders and whatever it may be. Is that also a use case you're targeting?
Absolutely. So I'm very excited about cross-border payments, which are being done by people like Shinhan Bank, oldest bank in South Korea. And they have done now they did a POC, and now they've done a second POC that's evolving into a real thing for being able to use stable coins. And you could have a stable coin denominated in the South Korean won, and you could have one in South African rand, and then you can transfer them in seconds, and you have finality. It isn't like sending a wire where it takes days and it costs you $30. By the way, if you're going from South Korea to South Africa, a wire might actually cost you $30 in US dollars. It blows my mind. But what they're setting up is a system that can be fast and secure and can be auditable and can be in moments, and it can reach the unbanked in developing countries. They are really pushing hard on this. I think the future of money is going to be convenience and power to the users, as opposed to the expensive, slow banking system that many people are excluded from. And you have a billion people that are unbanked. I think that Hedera is moving towards that, and Shinhan is really leading the charge on that.
Yeah, there was also news, and I saw it circulating a couple of weeks ago, Drop, a micropayments platform, which is built on Hedera. It was showcased by the FedNow folks on their website, which a great endorsement. What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is the future. So part of the problem with the whole ecosystem of payments with banks is that everything is slow and hard to do and expensive, and there's all sorts of problems. FedNow is a step towards improving that. And so the Federal Reserve has created the FedNow program to make it easier to move things. But of course, you have to have software that lets you do it, right? Just creating a protocol doesn't help if nobody can actually access it. And so what they have done is that they announced that Drop, there's a program, DROPP. Drop is a wallet that allows you to manage cryptocurrencies.
So yeah, I mean, listen, when we think about what's happening here, cross-border payments are extremely inefficient to make in today's society. The biggest problem with cross-border payments is that they are plagued with inefficiencies, and that's where new technologies like stablecoins are starting to show a ton of potential. And that's also why stablecoins have been growing so significantly this year, but also over time. I mean, it really started back in 2020 into 2021. Today, I mean, it's insane how big stablecoins have become, and they're only going to get bigger. And when it comes to Hedera, it might not seem like Hedera is a leader here, but they 100% are. Hedera has been a part of this, big push for so long. And then also just recently on September 4th, we got Hedera selected for Wyoming's Frontier stablecoin. We talked about this, right? FRNT Front. This is a huge one because this is a US state issued stablecoin that Hedera was selected for. On top of that, we also go back to September of this year where Filipino banks plan to launch multi-issuer stablecoin PHPX on Hedera. Now, we haven't heard back on this at all. We haven't really, seen too much regarding this, but I would argue that this is still in the works. A lot of things like this need to be fully perfect. We've heard about this from even Ripple, where, launching a stablecoin is not easy, especially when you have this like multi-issuer stablecoin between major banks. Like, you need to make sure that everything is completely perfect. It needs to be regulated. It needs to be compliant. It has to have this, it has to have that. So, this is definitely going to take a little bit of time. But then also, yes, the Australian digital dollar launched on Hedera back in June. So, Hedera is starting to see increased adoption around stablecoins and increased growth around stablecoins. And I really do think that Hedera is going to be a star player here for stablecoins because of the efficiencies tied back to the network. So, with that being said, I do think that Hedera is going to be a disruptor here. I think that they are going to be a big winner. And I also think that there's a big amount, a very large amount of money ripe for the taking from a lot of these networks. And I do think that Hedera is going to be a key player in that. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome. Follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.